Have you ever wondered what led to the downfall of King Solomon, one of the most powerful and wise rulers in history? King Solomon, a name that resonates through the corridors of time, was a figure of immense wisdom, wealth, and power. Born to King David and Bathsheba, Solomon ascended to the throne of ancient Israel and ushered in an era of prosperity and peace. This was a golden age, an epoch that bore witness to the construction of the magnificent Temple of Solomon, a marvel of breathtaking grandeur that stood in the heart of Jerusalem. Solomon, known for his wisdom, had a mind as rich as the treasures of his kingdom. His sagacity was legendary, his decisions just, and his reign an epic of peace and prosperity. He was a king who held the reins of his kingdom with a firm yet gentle grip. His subjects revered him, his enemies feared him, and his allies respected him. But his reign was not just about prosperity and peace. It was also a time of unprecedented cultural and intellectual growth. The arts flourished, the sciences advanced, and literature bloomed under his royal patronage. Solomon himself was a poet and a scholar, contributing to the wisdom literature of his time. However, as the saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. Beneath the gleaming surface of prosperity and peace, there lurked shadows of discontent. The very power and wealth that defined Solomon's reign also sowed the seeds of its downfall. His insatiable desire for expansion led to heavy taxation and forced labor, which sowed seeds of resentment among his people. Yes, the reign of King Solomon was indeed a golden era, an era of grandeur, wisdom, and prosperity. But like the most beautiful of sunsets, it carried within it the promise of impending darkness. Beneath the glittering surface, trouble was brewing. For even in the most glorious reign, the seeds of downfall are often sown. And so it was with King Solomon, the wise and wealthy king of ancient Israel. Behind the grandeur and glory, a storm was gathering, fueled by King Solomon's insatiable thirst for power and love. Solomon the wise, the revered, began to veer from the path of wisdom, as the allure of power and the seduction of love drew him into a complex labyrinth of alliances and relationships. His kingdom, resplendent with the splendor of the temple and his vast wealth, was not enough. Solomon sought more. He sought alliances, he sought power, and he sought love. He married not once, not twice, but hundreds of times, forging alliances with foreign princesses and cementing his rule with bonds of matrimony. But with each alliance, with each marriage, the seeds of jealousy and intrigue were sown. The many wives of Solomon, each with their own interests and loyalties, created a simmering pot of political unrest. The palace halls echoed with whispers of discontent, the quiet rustling of silken gowns a backdrop to the brewing storm. As Solomon's love for his wives led him astray, so too did his kingdom begin to falter. His decisions, once guided by wisdom, were now clouded by his desires. He began to worship the gods of his wives, straying from the path of monotheism, and in doing so, sowed discord among his subjects. The once stable kingdom, held together by Solomon's wisdom and justice, began to crumble. The alliances he had so carefully cultivated through marriage began to fracture, as discontent and jealousy spread like wildfire. The whispers of dissent grew louder, the once silent corridors of the palace now a cacophony of hushed conversations and veiled threats. And so, the stage was set for Solomon's downfall. The love and power he had so fervently sought became the very instruments of his demise. His kingdom, once a beacon of wisdom and prosperity, was now on the brink of collapse. The whispers of discontent grew louder, echoing the impending doom. As the kingdom faced adversity, so too did the once mighty and wise King Solomon. Adversity, often a catalyst for growth and strength, was instead the harbinger of downfall for King Solomon. It was a dark cloud that loomed over the kingdom, casting long, ominous shadows. Internally, the kingdom was fraught with strife, discontent simmering under the surface. Solomon's many wives, hailing from different nations and cultures, brought with them their own gods, their own religious practices. This was a direct contradiction to the monotheistic beliefs of Israel, a spark that ignited the flames of conflict within the kingdom. Externally, the threats were just as significant. Neighboring kingdoms, once held at bay by Solomon's show of strength and alliances, now sensed weakness. They saw the cracks in the kingdom's unity, the discord among the people, and they began to press in, like wolves circling a wounded animal. But perhaps the most insidious of all were the consequences of Solomon's own decisions. His thirst for power and love had led him down a path of excess, his wisdom drowned by the intoxicating allure of wealth and women. His choices were like seeds, sown throughout his reign, that had finally taken root, growing into towering trees of adversity that cast a shadow over the kingdom. The wise king, renowned for his discerning judgment and unparalleled wisdom, found himself ensnared in a web of his own making. The internal strife, the external threats, the consequences of his own choices, they all converged into a storm of adversity. Solomon, the king who had once stood tall and mighty, was now caught in the eye of the storm. His kingdom, his people, his legacy, all were at risk. His golden reign was tarnishing, the luster fading into a dull, lifeless hue. The wise king found himself ensnared in a web of challenges, spiraling towards a tragic end. But as we will soon discover, the tale of Solomon is not just one of downfall, but also one of lessons learned, a legacy left behind, and a cautionary tale for generations to come. Now we confront the sad end of King Solomon, a tale of loss, regret, and the inevitable consequences of a life lived in excess. In the twilight of his life, King Solomon found himself on shaky ground. His once vibrant kingdom was now riddled with discord, a consequence of his unquenchable thirst for power and love. The very alliances he had formed, the marriages he had arranged, became the seeds of his downfall. As the whispers of discontent grew into roars, Solomon's grip on his kingdom began to falter. The once revered ruler, hailed for his wisdom and wealth, was now a shadow of his former self. His decisions, once celebrated, were now scrutinized. His authority, once unchallenged, was now questioned. The adversaries that Solomon had kept at bay began to tighten their noose. Internal strife and external threats, coupled with the consequences of Solomon's own actions, struck at the heart of his kingdom. The once mighty king, revered for his wisdom, was caught in the throes of adversity. But King Solomon's story doesn't end with his downfall. Instead, it serves as a powerful lesson for future generations. His life, marked by wisdom and excess, love and power, triumph and tragedy, serves as a cautionary tale. It is a stark reminder that even the greatest of rulers can fall prey to their own desires. That unchecked power and unbridled ambition can lead to one's downfall. In his final days, King Solomon was a figure of regret. His once prosperous reign had given way to a kingdom in tatters. His legacy, tarnished by his own actions, served as a stark reminder of the perils of power and excess. Thus the once mighty King Solomon met a tragic end, leaving behind a legacy that would echo through the ages. His life serves as a testament to the fact that all that glitters is not gold, that wisdom without restraint can lead to one's downfall, and that the choices we make can and will shape our destiny. And there you have it, the gripping tale of the last days of King Solomon's life. We've journeyed through his glorious reign, explored the depths of his love, power, and intrigue. We've witnessed the rise of adversity that set the stage for his tragic end, and finally, we've confronted the sad reality of his demise. In this narrative, we saw a king who was once revered for his wisdom and wealth, who built the magnificent Temple of Solomon. But as we peeled back the layers, we found a ruler who, despite his wisdom, made ill-fated decisions. His numerous marriages and alliances, although a testament to his power and love, became a hotbed for jealousy and political turmoil. As the whispers of discontent grew louder, the once stable kingdom of Solomon began to crumble. Adversity knocked on the door, and the once mighty king found himself ensnared in a web of challenges. The golden era of Solomon was ultimately overshadowed by a tale of loss, regret, and the inevitable consequences of a life lived in excess. What remains of King Solomon's legacy is a cautionary tale that resonates across generations. His life and reign serve as a stark reminder that all that glitters is not gold, and that even the wisest among us can fall prey to the pitfalls of power and excess. In our next episode, we'll delve deeper into the twists and turns that define the legacy of this remarkable king. We'll explore the aftermath of his reign, the division of his kingdom, and how his choices influenced the course of history. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss the next chapter in our exploration of the past. We appreciate your engagement and look forward to unraveling more historical mysteries with you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.